So this area is Daikanyama. This is the subway station it's quite tiny actually, but it has a whole bunch of intersections that happen here. So you can take it to many different lines. It is really inaccessible is how it looks. It just has like stairs on this side. On the other side is like another fountain of stairs that go up this way. But there is one sneaky elevator available. It's kind of hiding around here. So it really helps me out on those rotten days when I just can't do the stairs. But let's just stop for a bit and admire how beautiful this looks. Ooh. It is a beautiful autumn day here in Tokyo. Love this weather. Beautiful. I am right beside Daikanyama Station because I came to my first physiotherapy session. Haven't seen my physiotherapist in quite some time, but we've stayed in contact for the past year, chatting over line and stuff. So we were quite excited to see each other again because we got quite close over the years. And she helped out my shoulder, not the shoulder I'm using to hold the camera. My left shoulder was kind of not quite in socket, probably because I carried something a bit too heavy. So I'm learning my limits. You know, every day you got to learn how much you can carry, how much you can't carry, what you should have put in your bike basket, what you have to buy online instead of, you know, making an effort to carry it. But first stop on my King Kogi Quest adventure was this soba shop. The noodle can be an important part of having soba, but the broth that you dip it in or the broth that it's served in is also an important part. It's not the same as ramen where each place is kind of, you know, having a very specific type of broth and a specific type of noodle. Normally it's just noodle, dipping, and you kind of go. This place is unique because they do a duck broth. So you can have a warm duck broth or a cold duck broth, and that's unusual. So they're kind of almost making it a combination of a ramen restaurant where they're concerned about the broth and the noodles also. So currently I'm at Kikuna station. I'm on an adventure for soba. It's duck soba, which is quite rare. Unassuming neighborhood for something like an amazing soba place, but trust me. Oh, here it is. Oh yeah. So I ordered this one. This one is the gohan set, so it comes with rice, but I think that's a bit much for me, so I just ordered the single set with the buckwheat and the duck. You can also just get it on its own, and they have lots of options. So they've got sake, one with like a cold dipping curry, kitsune, so it comes with a piece of tofu. Todoroki was like a sticky yam that you kind of grind up, and it looks really, really sticky. And then a cold one with sashimi. Oh, lovely. The menu itself is only available in Japanese, and it's a bit of like a handwritten menu, so it can be tougher to read. But if you look at Google Maps in advance and you read some of the reviews, it might be able to help you as to what you want to order. For me, I can obviously read the menus. I would say that even though my Japanese speaking level is pretty not that great, my reading skills when it comes to food are pretty much my only skill set right now, which is so funny because it's like you can go to a restaurant and like comfortably read the menu, have basic conversation, but then if I have to be in like a business meeting, it's like I don't know how to express things because I just dove into trying to read menus. It was a very different transition than when I came from Korea, right? Because in Korea, it was a slow, gradual, I had a different job. I was teaching full time. And so learning Korean was just something on the side I was doing. And then I got to know Korean based off of my students and slang and hanging out with Korean friends, obviously read the menus. But kanji in Japan makes reading a menu much more complicated because there are so many different types of fish and shellfish. So you might be able to read that it's sushi, but what kind of sushi are you ordering? You have to study to understand what that fish is and then to understand what you're going to order. So when I moved from Korea to Japan, there was no chance to gradually learn, right? Because everyone was like, oh, you're in Japan now, we want you to make videos. But I couldn't read the menus. Like, how can you make a video about something that you can't even order off of? So I kind of dove into hard hiragana, katakana, and kanji studying for food. And there's just not much that stuff out there to help you when it comes to food. So that's why I had mentioned that food magazines, this is an Instagram, and food books and stuff became my friends so that I could kind of get a dictionary, translate what I was reading, scribble it out, and then kind of have cue cards and stuff. So after I had my soba, I noticed that there was a bookstore nearby, and this is a very famous bookstore chain. And while they don't have things available in English normally, they have an awesome magazine and food section. So I was able to pick up a couple of food-based books as well as some food-based magazine. Just about rice, just about coffee. Ramen Walker, very famous. Ramen Walker is a very famous ramen magazine that you can actually get it secondhand at places called Book Off, which love the name, Book Off. And they're much cheaper, and they're kind of like not the most recent edition, but it doesn't matter if you're trying to study it. So you can kind of get the basis of this word's describing, you know, the type of tiny fish that this place uses to dry inside of its broth. Coffee shops. There's just something nice about going through a bookstore. And sometimes you can just look at the pictures, to be honest. I looked at a lot of pictures of like moss terrariums and stuff. Did Martina just say that she looks at the pictures? That's right. That's right, I said I looked at the pictures. And you know what? I would do it again. The books are so beautifully laid out. There's nothing wrong with looking at the pictures sometimes. I hug my university degree. So, station's over here, right? And you can see this spiral staircase as well. But the elevator for access is hiding still all the way over here. This is an elevator shaft, so you have to kind of come this direction. You pass the drugstore, you see the peacock, and you're like, still Martina, there's no elevator anywhere. Oh, really? Then what's that? So it's kind of a difficult to find hidden elevator. We've done it. So then I talk to myself like a weirdo. Feeling a lot better after physio. And then to make things confusing for you, see, so this takes you over to the station, but now this area here is actually on flat ground. So you have to imagine that this is Daikanyama. Yama means actually like mountain. So this is a street level. The hill kind of goes down this way. So before, I was talking to you guys down here. This whole area is really, really hilly, leading up to like Ebisu and like Nakameguro. And then this area goes flat out. Yeah. It can be confusing. I've probably taken 4 different routes to get to my physiotherapist before I realized that this was the easiest one to get to. Leaves are changing color. Autumn is finally hitting Tokyo. Northern parts of Japan are definitely already in the yellow and orange, but it's still pretty green around here. And this is the entrance to Daikanyama. Very confusing, right? So I was just all the way down there. I walked this way, I went into the bushes, I came up the elevator, and I came this direction. And there she is. And there's an exit to Daikanyama that's actually on that side, which takes you to the street level. So there's so many exits to Daikanyama Eki. It's extremely confusing. So Daikanyama Station is a teeny tiny platform. It has a lot of like really narrow spaces, but I've seen strollers and wheelchairs make it past here. But there's only one elevator, so make sure you take a look for it. Otherwise it's just stairs, there's no escalator. I'm sitting on the only 2 benches here, and I'm popping this out this way, just in case. But if someone comes by who might need it more, I'm gonna pop up.
まもなく1番線を急行電車が通過いたします。まもなく1番線を急行電車が通過いたします。黄色い線の内側へお下がりください。
So I'm walking to a famous patisserie. It's like a famous crepe place, a famous ice cream place. It just seems to be a famous everything sweet place. I'm gonna go out and try their crepes. This one has like a butter and brown sugar one. They've got one with honey, and then they've got ones that's like stuffed with ice cream, but I just kind of want to go simple. It's a bit off the beaten path, but I think it's gonna be good. We'll see if I can even get in, because it usually has like a lineup. It's literally located on the edge. Like it's gonna be on that side, so I gotta cross over. But here comes the train. So it's located over here, which is such a strange location, but I remember going past here looking for it and seeing like security guards outside, which happen at really popular places in Japan. This was a tricky crepe location. The patisserie, and they have 2 different kinds, are located near the railroad track. And I went inside and asked if they had crepes, and then the gentleman who's guarding outside the shop helped me find this location. So the railroad tracks are behind me, and then you come down this little street, and then you see this beautiful little stairwell. You head upstairs, and inside is the cafe. Now, let's dig into this crepe that I got before it gets cold. You guys, it's really good. Of course, I went for something extremely simple. This is just the French butter and honey crepe. I just like something really simple to try it out. But most people get this stuff with like ice cream and brownies and everything else inside of it. It's a soft and chewy type of crepe. Some crepes are kind of like made crispy, which is not my jam. This is really good. I'm definitely gonna go back again and get something that's like fillier inside of it. But if I didn't think the crepe base was good, then I wouldn't want to eat the rest of it, right? Okay, I came to the dollar store for one thing and one thing only. Why are you testing me? Why are you testing me? Look at this. Are you seeing it? It's a tiny measuring cup.
It's amazing. Look at it. Look at the...
You see what it's for? So that you can turn the top of the bottle, which I have struggled with, so that you can reach in and pull the pull tabs, which I also use usually chopsticks for. And they've got for the tin cans, which I literally cannot open without using a spoon. Pretty cool. This is a great idea. This one's shaped like a bunny. The one that I bought in Canada was just shaped like a circle. But you put it around the lid and then you turn it, and the rubber and the grip helps turn it without using all of your hand energy. Your energy, if you will. That's right. Energy. But look at this, it's freaking cute. I've also started to dig into the ramen scene. Not that I didn't do it before, but lately I've been trying to hit some places off my bucket list, and I want to try them before I share them with you guys.
Turning up the order that tree.